Hello everybody, welcome back to Hidden Harvest with Liz. My name is Liz and today we're going to be doing ourselves a garden tour. I know this one is a bit late, I've been doing them once a month, but this one is exceptionally late because we have been dealing with some high heat, guys, some seriously high heat. According to everything from 5 minutes ago, this is caused by corn sweat. I mean, it's usually just hot during the summertime anyway, to the point where people don't go outside, so I'm not going to blame the corn just yet. So let's get in on what's going on in the garden, because there's been a lot of changes with the garden so far. I've been taking notes, though sadly I have not been doing a whole lot of video. I've been doing a whole lot of harvesting and preserving, and since I don't do preserving videos, you guys have missed out on a lot of the changes with the garden. So let's get to it real quick. All right, just for a quick so you guys can tell where we are on the property. There's the orchard over there, just recently cut. One word of warning, if you have the idea to have some chips or something like that delivered to your property, do not put them on plastic. Don't do it. It doesn't matter if it's tarp, doesn't matter if it's regular plastic, it doesn't matter what you put it on. Somehow or another, it will likely get embedded in the ground and cause you problems months and months later. This stuff has been down for a year or so and I cannot get all the stuff off of it. And it's slowly degrading into my ground, which is putting plastic into my ground. Lesson learned, but you don't have to learn that lesson the hard way. Now you know, don't put plastic underneath it. Let it decompose into the ground on its own. But back to the tour. There's the gauntlet, which I did not show in the last video. I meant to. As you can see, a lot of these tomato plants are dead, dying on the way out the door. They did give me a handful of tomatoes, but most of them look very sickly and I've got a whole bunch of bugs on them. So they produced just a handful, just an absolute handful. Then over here, which is more of a perennial space, as you can see way back there in the back, my sunflowers are starting to go by the wayside. They were beautiful earlier this month and I didn't get out here with a camera. The Seminole pumpkin, which is not necessarily a perennial at all, is starting its grow all the way across the ground. This area over here are brand new beds, so nothing over here looks good. Plus, they're not actually on the water system. I ran out of materials to add these to the water system, so these are basically going to be reset beds and then water systems added in for next year. I just ran out of funds for this year. But the Seminole pumpkin is starting to travel. No blooms on this one yet. My walking onions are actually starting to come back green. I watered them, I fed them. They looked a little bit better. Now they're looking pitiful again. The heat just hasn't let up. We have some perennial flowers that are just barely hanging on through the heat. I don't expect this bed to do very much until next year. This is a plant from over there. We'll get to that one. This area over here is a whole bunch of perennial herbs. These guys have gone to seed. And at this particular point, I could actually save these seed for next year. But this is a perennial plant where I'm at. This is feverfew. And if I wanted to, I could cut this stuff down. I'm waiting because there's not a lot of pollen stuff out right now. Flowers is what I meant. Those things. There's not a whole lot of flowers out right now. And every little flower that these guys can find is another bee in my garden. So I'm leaving them. I'm not touching this. I'll reset it later on. And then we're actually getting some tiny flowers of the marshmallow. I've only got only one sprouted. I heard that this is supposed to be a pretty big plant. I will find a place for this later on and some more like it after I can get them to bloom up and just kind of get an idea of where I feel like this plant should go. And then we got our yarrow. The poor lavender just up and died on me. And then the hyssop, it's in the process of dying too. There's just not enough water right now. Then we've got the amaranth, which is actually starting to head. Looks very beautiful. Very overtaken down here at the bottom. But these guys will drop seed back into the bed and repopulate this bed. Like the others, as you can see down there, there's like a hole. The bed is settling because things are decomposing. I fully expected that to happen, to have to top these beds off. So I planted in these beds to have something planted in these beds, not because I thought that they would be very productive this year. So this side will get reset come fall time and replanted with the same thing because I want a constant supply of amaranth over here. And then of course my sunflowers and Mexican sunflowers, which are very slowly going out. I do apologize for the fog. As you can see, they got quite tall. I think I've got like 1 or 2 pictures of this whenever they were in full bloom. I'll see if I can find them on my phone and set them up. All right, let's go around to the rest of the garden. It is 8:30 and the heat is already serious. We're in for another high heat index kind of day. All right, this first bed, I have got my Rosella basil, which has gone to flower, and I'm just leaving it and letting it go to flower. I've got some lemon basil and some jicama, which I'm still not sure how I feel about this, but it's here. We'll see how it does. The mint is flowering, which is probably very dangerous. Very dangerous. I'm going to wind up with mint in various places, but the Malabar spinach is taking over the entire thing, and it's starting to bloom up. This is like the weirdest bloom I have ever seen, and then they turn into these berries, which are edible. I haven't actually tried one, but they're supposed to be edible. And then of course the leaves are edible. I've tried these, not my favorite. Chickens like it though. And then on the inside, as you can see on my trellis, I have already taken out these tomatoes. A lot of my tomatoes have been removed. At this point, most of the tomatoes were dead, dying, or whatever, and the ones that are left are still in the process of dead or dying, just I haven't removed them yet. So we have got some of the black cherry ones are still up here. I have also got one of the yellow ones. I'm not sure which one this one is, if it's one of the ones that I purchased or one of the ones that I planted, but it's still in here, and it's not really doing so great, but it's kind of intermixed with the Malabar spinach. I'm afraid to take that one out. This one, on the other hand, I'm hoping once the heat goes by, it will come back. I don't know that it will, but we'll see. And then over here is my okra. Now that I'm holding my camera at head height, and my beds are about 1 foot deep. So as you can see, it's pretty tall. It's pretty tall, getting a lot of really beautiful blooms. Absolutely gorgeous blooms on those, and starting to pick up on the amount of okra that we're getting. Let's go one back. So this is beds 1 and 6. We're going to go back to 2 and 7. All right, we've got some more basil here. I've just been letting it go to seed, and I've actually been taking the seeds and planting them right here along the sides of the bed. Earlier in the year, I had a lot of borage self-seed on the sides of my beds, and I really, really liked the idea of possibly having perennials seed along the edges of the bed. So now if I have a perennial that I like, or something that might come back next year, I will take the seeds and drop them along the edges of the bed to see if I can get that cycle going. Itchy, itchy. Okay. And then we've got our opal basil, which is also blooming. We have got all of my hot peppers. They are doing a lot of work right now because this is their season to thrive. You can see a whole bunch of them. As a matter of fact, you can see myself a Seminole pumpkin sitting back there right now. So that's awesome. I did trim the ghost pepper because I do apologize. The sun is just starting to peek up, and it is already so hot out here. After I took out the tomatoes, I got a mosquito bite on my back. The determinate tomatoes, a lot of my peppers had grown accustomed to them blocking some of the sun and had grown oddly, so I had to trim some of them so that they wouldn't fall over during the first storm without the determinate tomatoes holding them up. So a lot of things got set back just a little bit. The ghost peppers I'm not hugely concerned about because they're not ones that I was intending to eat. They're ones I was intending to give away. And they're bouncing back, and I think they probably will put on a flush before the end of the season either way. But these guys, we've got some serranos, some cayenne, some jalapenos in here, and all of them have given me 2 flushes so far, and I've made some hot sauces and some pickled peppers. And then I have got my Everglades, which surprisingly looked pitiful earlier in the season, that are starting to thrive now. They really like this heat. They look pitiful in a few places, but I mean, given the fact that I'm giving these to my chickens, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. I have got the tamando is also still over here, but it's producing smaller fruit, which I'm okay with this heat. I'm shocked that they're even putting on flowers at all. But as you can see, the Everglades is still in this kind of heat, which is, we've been above the 90s and up around 98 degrees Fahrenheit for most of the last 2 weeks. So the fact that it's doing anything is shocking. This is amazing. And I've got those on both sides. And then I have in bed number 7, a Seminole pumpkin that is starting to travel. It's going up the trellis as well and across the ground over here, and I'm just letting this take over. Over here, I do have a cucumber. I basically yanked all the cucumbers out, and that somehow or another came back. I have started more cucumber seed for later on in this month so that I can get some later harvest cucumbers because I'm already eating up my pickles. So they're not going to do anything right now. I'm just letting this area sit. I've got some butterfly weed, some coneflower. These are really pretty right here. I'm surprised they're doing anything right now, but they are going at it. We have got our sweet potatoes. This is bed number 8. Our sweet potatoes, which went in the bed after the potatoes. They are looking lovely. This plant likes the heat, loves the heat, thrives on the heat, is hiding a weed. You guys want a weed? Oh, chicken update. My chicks are big. There's my rooster. Hi, Bravo. There you go. I think something that I didn't understand when I was growing up is a rooster can actually be a lovely addition to your hen house. They protect, they let the hens know when food is out and everything else like that. So it's a matter of finding the right rooster and creating a relationship with that rooster so that he knows you're in charge. And he's in charge of his ladies, you're in charge of the hen house, and that's how it's supposed to work. On to something else. Then over here we've got our yellow tomatoes. At this particular point there's no way I'm going to dig around in there trying to find the tags. All of my garden, my entire garden is covered in ants. I mean, they are bad. If I brush up against a plant, there's ants. So I don't go digging around the garden this time of year. It's just way too dry. The ants are looking for any sort of moisture, and my beds have it because I water my beds. So yeah, just not touching a whole lot unless I have to. Like there's a tomato that I'll probably need to pull off this evening. All right, and then bed number 3, I'm gonna go to the other side because there's a bit of a thing going on over here. Bed number 3 has got another Seminole pumpkin, which one's growing right there. Another one back there. And this one is doing the best out of all of the Seminole pumpkins, and I think it has to do with how much sun it is getting over in this area and the amount of water and food this particular plant has gotten. The fact that it is resistant to the squash vine borer and the squash bug is amazing. I don't know whether or not it will survive completely through the entire summer, but we'll see. We'll find out. And then back here in bed number 1, 2, 3, 4, bed number 4, we've got our bell peppers, which are attempting to survive the heat. As you can see, Mother Nature decided this one was not going to survive, and so did the ants. I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's a serious ant population on this particular plant. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg in this instance, whether or not the plant was sick and the ants found it, or the ants made the plant sick, I don't know. But this entire bed could be doing better. I don't know exactly what's wrong. I did check the watering system. The water is fine, so I have no idea. But we've got our basil. This is the opal basil. For some reason, it's very green. Maybe there's like some sort of a deficiency on the nutrients in this bed that could account for some of the things that I'm seeing. We've also got some old celery, which has gone to seed a long time ago. I doubt very seriously this is going to self-seed, but no clue. We also got parsley, and those are flowering yet again. I'm just leaving them for the bugs. And I got a coneflower, some more basil, and a very pitiful 3rd year. Well, it might be pitiful because I see caterpillars in it. That might be what's going on over here. These are supposed to be my flowers on both sides. That one's looking pitiful, and this is looking pitiful. I think I trimmed them in the wrong season, but they either survive or they don't. We'll see how it goes. And then over here, which is bed number 9, we have got some other sweet peppers. There are varying types. I've got some lunchbox ones. I've got my sweet banana peppers, which I just harvested all of and pickled. So there's not any on here. We do have flowers and a couple of small ones that are starting to get big enough to do something with. Ultimately, these beds are, most of the beds are waiting for the heat to calm down. And then they'll start doing stuff again. I have got my Cherokee purples. They are still in here. They are looking exceptionally pitiful, but they are still growing, and I'm trying really hard to limp these around the heat. They are producing the occasional tomato, but these were really good tomatoes, and I would like this plant to stay around to see if it can bounce back after the heat. And this one is my pink tomatoes, the ones that survived past the heat last year. I'm trying that again this year. Plus, I would like to get some seeds from this particular plant if at all possible. And then back here on number 5, this bed has been completely reset. If you'll remember, I had onions in this bed, carrots in this bed, and after the onions, I planted beans along here. Well, my beans were taken over by ants. I mean, like ants and aphid city here. So I sprayed and tore down the thing and reset the bed. There is a load of chicken bedding in there. I have also been dumping my kitchen scraps in there. I have got 2 bags of fresh soil conditioner that's going to go down on top of all of this and get mixed in. And then I'm going to cover the entire bed in cardboard and let it sit until winter time. Well, late fall time. I'm going to let it sit until fall. This bed is going to be exceptionally high in nitrogen, very high in nitrogen. And normally I wouldn't plant anything into this bed at all, but I had an idea of a full salad bar for the chickens going into this bed. I just need it to decompose as fast as possible. So as soon as I can get it broken up and covered, the better. And I have got them some kale, collards, mustards, all kinds of stuff that's going to go inside this bed for them during the fall. And because it's such high nitrogen, that should hopefully mean that we get a lot of greens. And by the time we come up next year to actually plant into this bed again, it should be broken down enough. Plus the bed would have rested and also still been grown into. We'll see. I don't know. I've never tried this before. We're going to try it. All right. And then bed number 10, we have got my roselle, which is, this is chaos. I have no idea how to get these plants out of this bed after they're done. I have no idea. They are full on almost trees inside here. I think next year I'm going to get them some planters. Assuming I grow this next year, I have no idea. I still haven't tasted the fruit comes off of it to find out whether or not it's something I'll be interested in having again. I have also got some more tomatoes here. It's the Black Prince and what were the other 2? It was, oh, I can't remember right now. It's a very odd umami flavored one, but both of them are still somewhat alive and still somewhat blooming. So whenever I tore the other tomatoes out, I simply left these to see if they would survive the heat. We'll find out. And then over here, I have got 2 trellises full of loofah. That was not my intention. I actually had a trellis of loofah and a trellis of cantaloupe. Well, that's not actually what happened whenever I put everything in the ground. There's another look at my ant problem. They're in everything. They're all on everything. Thankfully, this plant seems to not be bothered by it and is doing okay. So, yeah, we'll see. This is a whole lot of foliage for not a whole lot of squash. There's another one right here. And it's also down in the bed. And it's also inside of my lemon balm, which has been cut back down and tamed a little bit. I do have chicory in the center of this bed. Not that you can actually tell it's here anymore. It's basically dead for the year. There's one more bloom left. And then in here, for next year's setup, is a moonflower. Sadly, I have not had a chance to come out here and get a picture of it in bloom, which sucks. I'm going to try and make it out here this evening to see if I can get one. Awesome. So this guy is going all over the place. My turmeric finally came up. I have got, I don't know what most of this stuff is. This is the butterfly weed, artichoke. This was a char plant that died, and another borage attempting to come up. And a poor, absolutely pitiful looking elephant ear. I don't actually know what's going on with the elephant ear right now. It is, I think it's suffering from the heat, but this is like a shaded area, so I'm not surprised that it's not doing so well. It's either the shade that's killing it, or it's the heat that's killing it, or it's a combination of both. I'm not really sure. I would love to show more about what's going on. For instance, the berries. The blackberries have finished up for the year. The raspberries are coming in on with their second flush, but I had to go through and basically tear apart this entire area because both sets of bushes had taken over. So I came out here and pulled up a whole bunch, cut a whole bunch, and put it all back. Most of this stuff will recover, but we'll see next year. I don't know, this is my first year having these plants. But as much as I want to go around to all of the different types of areas to show you everything that's going on, for instance, my pawpaw tree that I thought I had killed is actually starting to put on leaves again. So maybe it's okay, but I have to get inside and drink something. It is very hot. I will see you guys next time. You have a wonderful day and you stay shiny. Bye.